The Golden Hour Birth Podcast, a podcast about real birth stories and creating connections through our shared experiences.
Childbirth isn't just about the child. It's about the person who gave birth, their lives, their wisdom, and their empowerment.
We're Liz
And Natalie,
the Golden Hour Birth Podcast, and we're here to laugh with you,
cry with you,
and hold space for you. Welcome to the Golden Hour Birth Podcast. I am your co-host, Liz.
And I'm your co-host, Natalie. And tonight we have my good friend, Heather, on. Our husbands are best friends, so now we're best friends. And
here we are.
Yeah.
And we had kids, and now we want to talk about them.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we're here. So if you want to go ahead and tell us a little bit about your fam.
Okay. Well, as I said, I'm Heather. I am married to Dan. We've been together for 18 years. We have 3 kids now, so we are a family of 5.
I love it.
Yes. Just a bunch of nuts. Nut house is what we are.
Yeah. High school sweethearts, too?
Yes, high school sweethearts. Yeah.
Cute.
I stole him. He was a senior. I was a sophomore.
I love it.
I said, "Who is that?" I literally did. It's not even a joke.
That Dan the handyman.
Oh, handy Dan. Yeah, give him a shout.
Yeah.
You know?
So if you want to go into like your first pregnancy and then your first birth with Mr. Charlie.
Awesome. So Charlie, he's 8 now. With him, Dan and I were not married yet, so it was a surprise. But I was 24, so it wasn't like we weren't ready, and we've been together for 10 years by then. So I knew we were going to be married, and it was fine that we were pregnant. It wasn't a big deal. So my pregnancy with Charlie was easy. I did get gestational diabetes with him, which working in a restaurant at the time, and everything was kind of overwhelming because you never know what kind of food you have to eat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that was stressful. And it's the first kid, so you're like, oh God, am I doing everything okay? Am I eating too much? And it was nerve-wracking, but it wound up okay. I never had to be on insulin or anything, so I just checked my sugars 3 times a day, and it was fairly easy. I wound up having to be induced, oh my God, whenever I was allowed to at the time. And it took forever. Yeah, it took forever. I was induced at 9 a.m. and he wasn't born until, well, actually, this is funny. It was on daylight savings time. So it was supposed to be 3:51 a.m., but it was 2:51. They had to change the clock backs halfway through me pushing. And I was like, what?
God, that's so weird.
I was like, what do you mean you have to push it back? I just lost that hour?
I'm counting that hour.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
I know. I was like, okay, fine. That's fine. I just put in that work for no reason. No. But he came out and he was healthy. Recovery was weird because it's your first kid, you know? You're just like, oh, all the weird things. I tore with him, which I didn't really end up tearing. They actually wound up giving me an episiotomy because she was like, well, do you want a jagged tear or do you want me to just give you a straight cut? And I was like, well, I guess I don't really have a choice. Give me whatever's going to be the easiest, quote unquote.
Yeah. And now we know.
And now
tears are easier.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it was brutal, but worth it. He came in, he was healthy and good to go, and he's my angel child.
That first one.
I know.
We were just talking about that off the record.
Yeah, we were.
Trick, yeah.
They do. They make you think that you know what you're doing. Do you want me to go into Evelyn now?
I would love to hear about this.
Okay, Evelyn.
Just to like say she's my favorite girl in the world. Like she is so freaking spicy. I love it.
She is.
She's so funny.
She is a spicy lady. Yes. She came out that way and she is still that way. And she's 5 now. With her, we tried for her. It was like, it wasn't a lot of work. It was like, okay, we want to have a baby. And there we were. We were very lucky for that to happen because I know that doesn't happen for a lot of people. So I was excited about that.
Did you guys find out it was a girl?
Oh, yeah. We found out on all of them.
Yeah.
I have to be prepared.
Yeah.
I am that person. Like, I need to know, am I having a girl or a boy? Because if since I had a boy first, I'm like, do I need to have girl clothes?
Yeah.
Which, duh,
True.
of course I do. Yeah. I got to have the bows. Which is funny because now she's a tomboy and she doesn't even want to wear dresses or bows. So
Joke's on you.
Yeah, joke is on me. My pregnancy with her was easy. I didn't end up having gestational diabetes with her, which off the record, as we were talking about before, I was a house with her because I could eat whatever I wanted. I again was induced with her. And oh God, she took forever too. I don't even remember what time she was born. Second child problems. Like I don't even remember what time it is. But I didn't push for very long. I think I was like 30 minutes and she was into the world and she was out and about. With all of my births, I'll just go ahead and say it. I've had hemorrhoids with every single one. Like straight up cluster of grapes. No fun at all. With Evelyn, recovery was really rough. Lot of anxiety. I don't know if it was because I already had a kid and we came home the first night and she screamed for 3 hours straight. It was horrible. And we had no sitter. So Charlie was there, but he was sleeping the whole time. Thank God. And Dan was sick. So he had, sorry, that was my watch.
How old was Charlie?
Charlie was, God, he was 2, about to turn 3. She was born in September, so his birthday's in November. So yeah, he was literally about to turn 3, and you know how that goes. Terrible 2s into tornado 3s. So I was like, oh God, if he wakes up, this is going to be 10 times worse than it already is. So Dan,
not getting them back to sleep.
Yeah. So I wound up calling like the hotline that first night. It was not fun. And the only thing that calmed her down, we stripped her all the way down to her diaper. Dan had his mask on and she slept on his chest. And that was the only way we could get her to chill out and resume what we had to do. My friend at the time had just gone vegan and she was like, I know you probably don't want to hear this. She's like, but this could be a dairy issue. And I was like, that's weird. I was like, okay, well, I'll just try to cut out dairy. Which joke's on me. Dairy's in a lot of things, if you don't know.
Yeah.
It's in a lot of things.
Yeah.
And then I was into it could be like the casein or like all these other like underlying dairy things that they sneak into your food that you don't realize are in there. And then it took off to postpartum anxiety because I'm trying to breastfeed this baby and I'm cutting all of this dairy out and she's screaming all of the time. And it was really hard with her. And I think, that took a toll on all of us for a really long time. But we made it. Yeah. She, wasn't all doom and gloom. She was awesome, when she started smiling and when she started like, oh God, eventually like eating and real food and wasn't all about me all of the time. Yeah. That's when it always gets easier for anybody,
Yeah.
So she's good now, actually. By the time she was 2, we were introducing dairy again.
Yeah.
We went to a restaurant and, excuse me, and she had chicken nuggets. And I was like, I know this has chicken nuggets in there because I was working at the restaurant at the time. And I was or I know that it has milk in there. Mm-hmm. And she did fine with it. It was fine. And I was like, okay. So then we just started slowly putting it back in. Now she eats mac and cheese and cheese pizza and just like all the things that are dairy.
Oops, sorry. How long did you breastfeed her for?
I breastfed her for a year and a couple of months, however long it took to, wean her down.
Was she like gaining weight and all that?
Oh, yeah.
During all that time?
All my
she
babies
was
were just, oh, yeah. All my babies were real chunky babies. But no, yeah, she was screaming all the time. Like, I mean.
Did you ever find out if it actually was a dairy
It wasn't
allergy,
an allergy per se because she never broke out into a rash. It was just a intolerance is what they called it. Gotcha. And it was so funny. My grandma was like, well, I just don't understand. Like, we've had milk our whole lives. And I go, yeah, this isn't like mom and pop dairy farms anymore. This is cows hooked up to machines. You don't know what's in there. It's a lot of different things. And,
so true.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I straight up went, what was it? A dairy-free pescatarian for like 3 years. After I had her, I didn't eat. I cut out meat. I cut out dairy. I didn't eat carrots for a while because I knew that could also be a trigger, which was really weird. I know, but that was my anxiety.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm cutting everything out because I just need my mental health. I'm going crazy. I felt like I was going crazy.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for my friend who had gone vegan, like, I don't know what I would have done, because she was over there weekly and she's like, let me take the baby, let me rock her, let me help you out. And it was just such a pain because you have to go to the restaurants and it's like, I just want to be out and about and be normal. And I couldn't be because I was like, well, what's in this and what's in that? And does this have dairy in there? And it was so stressful. So
I think you had Evelyn before like Sam and I ever started having kids. And
yes,
you were like always in the back of my head. I remember even texting you with Wesley.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do I have a dairy intolerance? Or does he have a dairy intolerance?
Yep.
What happened?
Yep.
And then now you're in the back of my head with this one too.
I know, I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I think it's a good thing. Turns out she's allergic to eggs.
Yeah.
So that's been fun.
I know.
And then she like will feed sometimes and she'll be like, and I'm like, okay, what else are you allergic to?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Well, I know that a lot of things, like, I was on so many support groups on like Facebook and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. And the things that other moms, like, bless your souls if you've had to do this, like soy, dairy, eggs. There were just a list. And I was just like, oh my God, I just hope that I can just get me through this year. I just want to get through this year. And we did. And on top of it, with breastfeeding for me, my children want the perfect nipple. I don't have that. So I had to use a shield the entire time I was breastfeeding both kids. And I was like,
that's a long time.
It's a long time. And it's stressful. You know, you're trying to like get this thing on
God, when
you.
they're screaming
and then they pull it off and it falls off. And then you're just like crying. You're just like, oh.
Yeah.
But
and I probably bought like 6 different types of shields.
Yes.
There's different sizes. There's different shapes. Different materials. I mean, yeah.
It's wild. I brought it in with me whenever I had Evelyn, and they were like, well, the nurse was like, where'd you get that? And I was like, from my first pregnancy. Like, I'm not going to not come in here unprepared with what I need to do.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, well, we're going to try without it first. And I go, okay, but I'm telling you right now, this is the only way they're going to eat.
Yeah.
And sure enough, that was the only way Evelyn ate.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Dang nipples.
I've never tried one, so I just don't like really know much about them. But like, I didn't know that there were different shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
Just
amazing.
Just like a bottle nipple.
Yeah.
And just like a real nipple.
Yeah,
true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm sorry I don't have the perfect ones, guys. Jeez. We're going to put me out. It was fine, though. But no, she's awesome now. She's still sassy. Like I said, she came into this world sassy, and she's still there. And she is. But she'll keep you on your toes. And she's funny. She's going to rule the world.
So funny.
Gosh, she's so funny. I do. I love her, too. I do. And now my last one. Sophia. The grand finale, because this is the last one. Like, love her, but I want my sleep back.
Yeah.
I know you feel me.
Yeah.
I know you do. Sophia. It took a while to get pregnant with her. I think we tried. I think it was like 3 or 4 months, because it was October. And I was like devastated because I started and I was like, it didn't take this long with my first 2. I think I just really want to have this 3rd baby.
How old was Evelyn?
Evelyn was, oh God, hold on. Evelyn or Sophia they're 4 years apart. So she was 2, right? She's 5 now. So she was probably 3.
3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. She was 3, 4 or 5. Yeah.
Did you have as much time to have sex? 2 kids?
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot, you know.
But Dan and Heather would make time too.
You know, I don't know if everybody knows this, but if they don't, here it is. Parent sex. Like, you turn on the TV and you roll out into the other bedroom. Like, it's just how it goes. Like, you got to do it when you can, because otherwise it's, you know.
Ours is nap time.
Nap, yeah.
On the weekend.
See, my other 2 don't nap, so I'm like, here's a movie.
Yeah. Put your headphones on.
Right. They don't know. Once the TV's on, they're like, oh. It doesn't even matter, you know? So it's fine. Or the Switch, you know, my son's on his Switch, you know, on the weekends. Yeah, it is what it is. But no, if both kids are at school, then yeah, it's nap time. You got to do it. Listen, a healthy relationship is important with your significant other, especially after the whole postpartum experiences that you have to go through. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's no shame in parent sex, as we like to call it. But yes, we had plenty of time, and I knew when I was ovulating, but it just wasn't happening. And finally, like I think it was like 4 months later, it was like, oh, yay, we got the test. It's awesome. We were really excited. But of course, I was anxious the whole time because I'm just like, you just never know. I have so many friends that haven't had successful pregnancies, and I feel terrible for them, and I just can't imagine what they're going through. And if that's you who's listening, like, God, just I feel for you so much, and I'm sorry you had to go through that. But I'm grateful that I was able to have 3 healthy pregnancies. I wound up with gestational diabetes with Sophia again, and I cried. Because with her, she refused to allow me to enjoy any dairy-free foods or non-meat items. So I put meat and dairy back in my system real quick because it was like, I was really sick with her. Really nauseous. Dan would literally get up in the morning, make me breakfast to eat in bed before I can even get out of bed. Otherwise I was going to throw up. I was like, I can't. I'm so nauseous. It was like the whole first trimester, semi end of the second trimester. I was like, and it was all day. It wasn't like just in the morning.
The other kids too?
Charlie, no. Oh, I forgot to tell this story. Yeah. Sophia, or with Evelyn, when I was pregnant with Evelyn, I was changing Charlie's diaper one morning and I had to throw up in a clean diaper. Because I was like, oh no. I was like, he's on a changing table. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I was like, and I just had to grab a diaper and throw up in it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, buddy. It's just like, I'm so nauseous right now. I can't even make it to the bathroom. I can't leave you on the changing table for you to roll right off. Oh God, yeah. I didn't have any of that issue with being pregnant with Sophia, thank God. I had to eat something and then I could get out of bed. But then once it kicked in again, it was like, oh, crackers. And then I was trying to eat like, what is it? It's like the Beyond Meat sausages because it was, I don't know. We were still barbecuing at the time.
Kids, like,
yeah. And I was just like, oh
cool.
God. I remember one night I was just like laying on the couch and I just fell asleep and Dan's like, are you all right? And I'm like, no, I'm so nauseous and so tired. And I've been watching these kids all day. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done today. But no, she was easy. And I did cry whenever I found out I had gestational diabetes again. Because I was like, I just put all this stuff back in my diet. And I was restricting things for so long with Evelyn. I'm like, I just wanted to have a normal pregnancy. I was so sad.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to lie. There were some days I was like, I don't even care. I just didn't. I didn't care. I was like, I'm going to eat this and I'm going to be fine. And I was fine. There were a couple of days I was like, my sugars are a little high. And they're like, Heather, if you keep it up, you're going to have to get on insulin. I'm like, all right, okay, fine. So I would tame it down. But
so tell me like a little bit about gestational diabetes. I feel like I don't know a ton about it.
I really don't know all the ins and outs of it either. I just know that you don't want your sugars to get too high because you could run the risk of having a baby that's too big.
Yes. Okay.
And it's dangerous for them, but I can't remember all the details of why. My brain cells have been murdered by my children. So I don't have them anymore, but I just know that it's more of a risk for the baby than it is for you per se.
Okay.
So you just, like I said, on the third pregnancy, I didn't let it get too out of control, but there were some days I was like,
I have to treat myself.
so otherwise you're going to lose your mind, you know? But it is, the pricking your finger, I think, is the most tedious part of it. It's like, I look like a pin cushion. My fingers are like, there were like dots all over. I'm like, this is just not what I want to be dealing with when I'm super pregnant and trying to deal with all these other kids and, just like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. It's exhausting, and having to deal with that on top of it is just another thing for you to take care of. And
did you have to do like the 3-hour?
Oh yeah.
Well, whatever it
funny
is.
story. So I did that with Charlie, and then I looked at them. I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and do
After you
this
failed the
1
first
hour.
one?
I go, but if I fail it, we're just calling it.
Yeah.
And I did. I'm like, I'm not sitting at a doctor's office for 3 hours.
I can't believe people like they put people through that.
Yeah. And you get stuck so many times. It's a miserable experience. It is miserable.
While you're not
Yeah. You can't eat.
Pregnant and yucky and
oh, it's awful.
it's so
disgusting.
bad.
Disgusting. Yes. I actually, so coming off of, Evelyn and the dairy thing and whatever, I was really into like organic and trying to eat clean. And I was trying to find whatever I could to not have to drink that drink and trying to find an alternative to it. And it was near impossible.
Yeah,
they were like,
you can drink like a gallon of orange juice.
Yeah, and I think the other thing was eat jelly beans. I'm like, jelly beans are going to be just as terrible for you as this drink. And I was on Amazon. I'm like, organic jelly beans, I couldn't find any of it. So I was like, well,
just get it over with.
I guess I'll suck it up because, once you're in these groups on Facebook, sometimes they just really get into your brain. And this is coming off of 2020. 2020, I was like, I got off all social media. Yeah. Which is when I started reading, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, I was like, I already have enough anxiety as it is.
Yeah, those groups,
it's brutal.
Made my anxiety go higher.
So much worse.
A couple of them were like, okay, I got the information I needed. I'm out. Yeah. But other ones you get sucked into.
You do.
And you're like, reading someone's whole thread about something that has nothing to do with you.
And you're like, oh my God, what if it was me? Yes. So I was coming off of that. I'm like, I just don't even want to deal with any more of that. So anyway, I failed the 1 hour and I refused to do the 3 hour. I was like, I'm not doing it. Doing it.
Just act like you have it.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and once I got my monitor and stuff, it basically confirmed that, yes, I did have it. I'm like, all right, well, there's that. I'm glad I didn't sit for 3 hours because, again, I have 2 other kids. I don't have time for my husband to be taking off of work for me to be sitting in this office for something I already know I'm going to have. So, yeah. But the rest of the pregnancy was easy. It was super easy. I guess I did have a couple hemorrhoid flare-ups throughout it, which were miserable whenever you're giant and then you can't sleep on top of that. It was just, I did cry a couple of times. I'm like, this is it. This is the last one. I just can't do this anymore. And I was induced with her too. Her story is fun, actually. I got in there. It was 9:00. I get all hooked up. I'm like, okay, it seemed like the contractions were really going and then they went away and then they were really going and then they went away. And I was like, oh my God. And finally they were like, well, we're probably gonna have to break your water. And I was like, oh God, which I've had my water broke with every other one. I'm like, it didn't do anything. We would break it and it'd be like nothing. Be like hours later, just so much longer. I'm like, okay. And I was like, let me just eat dinner. Let me get through dinner and we'll just go ahead and we'll break it after that. And they were like, okay. They come in, they break my water. My nurse is like, all right, I'm going to run down. And your story with Sam, you went downstairs for 10 minutes. And I went from a 3 to, what is it when you push 10?
Yeah. 10.
In 30 minutes.
Yep.
God.
30 minutes. And I was dying. It was beating my epidural. I was sweating. I was like, I'm dying right now. And they had me roll over on my side. Dan's just like staring at me like, are you okay? I'm like, no, I'm not. I was like, you need to get this doctor here right now because I need to push. And then
Did you get the epidural at all?
It was beating it. That's how fast my contractions were coming. So they had to bring the person back in, the anesthesiologist, to up my dose. And it didn't matter. Her heart rate started to drop. All of a sudden, there were like 10 nurses in my room. They had to flip me over on all fours. So her heart rate would come down. And I was like, if my doctor's not here, I all I want to do right now is push. Yeah. Like I'm about to make, she's not staying here. She's like, you need to wiggle. She's like, wiggle your toes, wiggle your toes. I was like, okay. So I was wiggling my toes and yeah, the doctor came in and it was 10 minutes. Ta-da! There was Sophia. I was like, okay. My recovery with her was the best recovery I've ever had. Amazing. I'm not even being sarcastic. It was the best. I had a hemorrhoid issue or whatever, but I was like comfortable. I didn't need any of the medicine. I didn't take any Percocet or any of that jazz. So I was grateful for that. I was like showered and like ready for the hospital pictures, semi. This was also after, within 24 hours of breastfeeding Sophia, she started screaming like Evelyn did.
Oh, no.
And the lady was like, oh, maybe she's just colicky. And I'm like, no, she's got a dairy issue. And she was like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah. So Dan was like, Heather, we can't do this again. You can't do it. I can't do it. It's not going to be fair to the kids. He's like, we got to make the decision to put her on formula. And I bawled my eyes out. So I guess my hospital pictures, I was a little swollen because I cried so hard because the nurse came in and Dan started feeding her formula. And I was like, she doesn't even need me anymore.
She's already off to college.
She's like, Dan's like, she still needs me. I go, no, she doesn't. She doesn't even need me. Like, that was postpartum hormones make you crazy. And I was just a mess. And he's like, it's okay. And honestly, it was okay. It was the best thing we ever did. And I'm not trying to rub this in, but it really was the best thing to put her on formula because once we got home, and we still do it to this day, actually, we alternate days. Like he gets up in the middle of the night or the morning of and feeds her and we switch days and
that's what we do.
Yeah.
It was the best decision we ever made. And I think that's why I had such a good postpartum experience this last time because I wasn't so anxiety ridden and trying to cut out dairy and like stressing about all of that. And I mean, it was soy formula and then ta-da, the formula shortage. I was like, the one freaking time I decided to put my kid on formula, that happens.
Yeah.
And then you're like, maybe I can relactate and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, no.
Like, no,
Oh, God. I'll never
because-
forget. It was the day. So my milk dropped in. I cried that day. And then I put away my pump stuff. And I had been preparing my kids like, hey, mom's going to be feeding the baby from my boobs. It's called breastfeeding. It's totally normal. This is how we do it, blah, 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 blah. And Evelyn, I put my pump stuff away because I knew it wasn't going to happen. And I was laying her down for bed and she looked at me and poked me in the boob. She goes, why aren't you feeding the baby from your boobs like you said you were going to? And then I started bawling again. Dan's like, get out. Get out of her room. I'm like, because my body was so ready. It was really unfair that I couldn't. Once I started breastfeeding, I could. My body was ready to do it.
Yeah.
But my babies and dairy are just not a thing.
Yeah.
And it really sucked. It was really a bummer for me.
Texted me that day of I
God.
put my pump stuff away.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
I cried so hard. It's okay. I cried so hard. But again, the formula thing was the best decision we made. The formula shortage, that sucked.
Yeah. I feel like I just missed it.
You
so
did.
I think you were like,
It was like as
a
it
few
happened.
months.
It was just like,
damn.
I think it was St. Patrick's Day. My friend was like, I'll pick some formula up for you. She went to like 4 different Targets.
Oh my God.
I was like, you are a blessing. Like, thank you so much for doing that for me because I thought I had enough formula for her to last until the next day at least. And I didn't.
Yeah.
Like halfway through Dogtown, I'm like, oh, I'm almost out of formula. Great. Because she was an eater and she's still an eater. That girl and her snacks. Snacks. Just a snack BF for life. That's real life.
Yeah.
But she was the easiest baby and the happiest baby, and she's fun, Sophia. But she's taken right after Evelyn. She's real sassy. I'm like, come on, what happened to you? Because she's a year and a half now, so it's like, oh God.
Oh man,
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I just missed the formula
Mm-hmm.
shortage too. I
Yeah.
think when we stopped, I had some extra and just like gave it away. It was
Yeah.
like, I don't even know, maybe 10 bottles out of a
Yeah.
half a canister. But
I just remember calling the doctor. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And they're like, and this is what really threw me for a loop because I just remember hearing with formula, you have to like transition them to certain formulas. You know, if you're going to switch, you have to transition them slowly. And they were like, just feed them whatever. It's all the same. And I'm like, well, why has that never been a thing before? Why was no one ever told that?
Yeah.
It's because I was like, great, what am I going to do? So yeah, she was on a couple different soy formulas. I was like, I
think they'll just get like constipated or diarrhea.
Yeah,
then,
you just
like,
never know.
A week later, they're okay. But
I know.
yeah,
I think I was doing like
sucks.
liquid at one point and powder, and it was just like
whatever you could find.
and like spending
somewhere.
astronomical amounts of on formula when you could get it somewhere else cheaper. It was like, but it was out. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a nightmare. I still walk down the formula aisle and look for hers, and I'm like, oh God. Sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not.
And you had to be extra picky because you had to be on soy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wasn't like I could just pick Gentlease, you know?
Yeah.
It was like it had to be a soy formula.
Yeah.
It was so couldn't even find it on Amazon. It was
my
just crazy.
God.
It really was. I was like, oh God. So yep, now she's on oat milk, but she's also on dairy now. She can eat dairy. We figured that out finally. So she can eat mac and cheese and pizza and
that's
she's
good.
fine. But yeah, it's just in the
Their little
beginning.
tummies.
Yeah. It's pretty harsh. And I know like a lot of people who are older who are like, I can't drink regular milk anymore.
I don't drink
It'll
milk.
tear me up. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yep. So
If I drink a glass of milk, I'm torn
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm an oat milk girl.
Yes, we are too.
almond
Yeah,
milk.
exactly.
Yeah.
Any subs are fine.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Yeah, my pediatrician has like told me that like they can be sensitive to it for 4 months, and then like 4 months it can kind of just go away.
Mm-hmm.
But like, who knows when that's?
Mhm.
Yeah. I know.
Everybody is so different.
Everybody is so different.
Yeah.
Your
Yes.
baby.
Yeah.
I know.
Egg and dairy, I've always heard, can like go away pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I'm super, super grateful that they went away because it makes life a lot easier. I don't have to like stare at every, label when I'm walking through the grocery store. Does this have dairy in it? Does it have casein in there? Does it have...
And those labels ain't very big.
No, they're not. And
They're
especially,
tiny.
oh my God.
And big words that I don't even know.
Yeah, and then you have
Big
children
words.
running around everywhere while you're
Yeah.
trying to read these labels. It's like, I'm done with this.
and going
Just done.
going out to eat, like you said, like some chicken nuggets have milk.
It's
in
the
them,
breading
you know?
in there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard.
It is. Does
Lovely.
this dressing have dairy in it? Does
Mhm.
does this drink have dairy in it? I don't know.
Beautiful.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
But no, I love my little nuggets. As any mom can attest, they drive you crazy, but they're awesome. They're fun.
Yeah. So now previously you started a little bookstagram.
Oh, I did. So it was 2020, like I said, and I was just over all the politics and just the arguing and the drama of any and all social media. So I hopped off of social media for a while. I had messaged a friend and I was like, hey, you like to read? This is what I'm into. I'm into, love. I want to read about romance, And she was like, and I said, I don't want any thrillers. I already have enough anxiety. I don't need any of that jazz. So sorry, thriller fans. Don't follow me. So anyway, she gave me a list and it's on my phone actually still. It was like this list and I like got a library card and blew through the list. And then once I was back on social media, TikTok came out.
Oh yeah.
And there
Book
was-
talk.
Oh, book talk.
Uh-huh.
And then Bookstagram. And now my list is astronomical. I will never finish it. I will die with this TBR. That's to be read list. Because it's so long. So yeah, it was like a couple months ago because I was talking with one of my girlfriends. We were always talking about books back and forth texting. And I was like, I think I want to start a Bookstagram. And she was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. She was like, do it. I was like, I'm gonna. And it was March. So I was like, I'm just gonna, see what happens.
Yeah.
It's, I don't have very many followers and it's okay. I think I'm almost, I'm over 460 at this point.
Girl.
I
that's a
know.
lot.
I've
Awesome.
since
From
March
0
1st.
to-
I know.
I know. Yeah, I think
Um,
I'm at 450
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's good. I like waver between like 448 and 450. I'm
Yeah.
like, who unfollowed me?
I know. I'm like, it's okay if you unfollow me. What if you don't like it? Bye. Don't be mean to me. because you just never know. But no, it's a fun community. I mean, who's going to be mad about recommending books, you know?
True.
Yeah, it's _romantic_book nerd. And it's fun. I like a lot of smut, if you know what that is.
I was going to ask you, like spicy?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Yes,
okay, what are you reading or recommending right now?
Right now, well, that's my problem. So I read too many books at a time. I am reading the Throne of Glass series because I'm also a fantasy reader. Thank you, Twilight. That's where it started. And then Harry Potter. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
So now I'm reading Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. And I love her.
Oh, I just read A Court.
Did you read the whole series?
I did.
Oh my God, it's so good.
It took over my life for
yes,
like
and
4
then
months.
you were in a book funk for like months after.
So much.
Was like,
the book I'm reading now, I like keep telling my husband, I'm like, I'm bored.
What are you reading?
I don't like it. I don't even know.
Oh.
Something that was recommended from like that. So, you know, like, oh, well, if you liked that, you would like this. It's, oh, shit. What is it called? It has like bones in the title.
Oh,
she's like a maiden.
oh God, who knows?
I don't know.
Okay.
But it's just, there's not much happening.
Yeah, sometimes they start a little slow and it's like the last 50 pages you're like,
Yeah.
"Gah, take that." Yeah, so I'm reading Throne of Glass. It's also starting a little slow for me, but I've heard like as you get into it it's going to get better, which okay, bring it on. So I'm going to power through it cuz I have a terrible problem DNFing a book, which is do not finishing if you don't know in book terms. I'm that person. That's my what do they call it these days? My toxic trait. I cannot not finish a book because I feel guilty and then I'll be mad at myself. Like, what if it was good and I didn't finish it? So I'm reading that and then I'm reading The Right Man, Right Time, which is just a rom-com, which is my comfort like after the intense fantasies and all their battles. I just like to relax with that. And then I'm listening to the Shatter Me series. It's a young adult series and oh my God, it is living up to the hype. I will tell you that.
Yeah.
Lots of plot twists, and I'm just like, how much more can they throw at me? Because I'm also reading the novellas. So I just finished 6 books. There's 5 more left.
Shatter Me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's really
love
good.
Young adult
Yes.
stuff.
It's real good.
Yeah.
It's
My
real
favorite
good.
is post-apocalyptical. Did I say that right?
Sure.
Young adult.
Yes. Well, this one's really good. She has a lethal touch. Like she could kill you if she touched you. And it's like her journey. Oh, it's so wild. It's so wild. It's so good and so fun. So yes, I recommend the Shatter Me series for sure. I don't know. I just love being on Bookstagram. It's so much fun. But yeah, for all you moms who are like, oh, I don't know how you read so much. Audiobooks. People who tell you audiobooks aren't reading are ridiculous. I'm still listening to a story. Okay. I'm listening to it and it's the book.
Yeah.
It's word for word the book. They're just talking in my ear instead.
Yeah.
So
if it's that or nothing, then audiobook.
like I'm doing the dishes. I'm going to listen to my book. I am vacuuming. I'm going to turn my book full blast and I'm going to listen to my book. Like my Goodreads goal was 50 and I already hit it and I had to up it to 100. Thank you, audiobooks.
Woo.
I know.
Girl.
Nice.
I've got them on. I've got my books on my phone. I've got physical books. I've got audiobooks. I'm all over it. I love to read. I'm not neglecting my kids, y'all. My son also loves to read. But we went to the library one day, and without me checking out a book, both of my children, between the both of them, checked out 40 books.
Oh my God.
My kids love to read.
Oh,
That's
so
amazing.
sweet.
Yes. So I'm setting a good example.
Yes, you
For
are.
sure. How do you keep track of 40 books in your house?
I don't actually. I think I'm getting ready to have a late fee on one. So, but whatever. It is what it is. You know, it is what it is.
That was my childhood. Late fees.
Yes,
We never return anything on time.
but they're nice. The library's super nice about it. It's not like
Yeah.
they're gonna punish you for it.
Yeah.
They're just like, just pay it. Like, okay. Remember one day I was like, how many books can we check out? And they were like 100. And I'm like, oh, we're good. We're good to go. Thank God.
That's so fun.
So yeah, follow me if you're interested.
I just bought a gigantic stack of books for my doula training. And
I saw that.
Yeah.
It's so exciting.
so I got one that had I got it used from thrift books, and I'm looking through it, and it has had a marriage certificate in it.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, what the hell? It just fell out of the book.
Oh my
So
God.
I'm like looking at it, and I'm like putting the names into Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. Couldn't find either of them. I made a video on TikTok last night asking, like, help me find this girl. And she found me today.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That is
like,
awesome.
I think that's me.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Like, okay, well, give me your address. I'll mail it back to you.
Oh my gosh.
Fucking TikTok.
That is so cool. Where's she from?
Georgia.
Oh man, so that
local.
book like traveled.
No. It was like it's an online used bookstore, thrift
Oh.
books.
Wow. Yeah.
Shout out, because I got all these books for like $5.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's a lot of books.
That is a
I have
lot
to
of
read.
book. Oh, I did see that stack. It was massive.
Yeah.
It'll be worth
They
it.
like kept coming every few days, and I'm like, oh shit. Okay.
I'm really doing this now. This is a commitment. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's
She's
fine.
going for it.
That's awesome.
I'm like, I have like 0 time, but I want to be on that route.
You'll get there.
I know.
You'll get there.
I'll be behind you.
You have a newborn, so
I know.
Yeah. No one expects you to do anything right now, except for your baby.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
my kids go to school. So
Like I said, I showered for you today too. You're welcome.
Yeah.
You know, showering is glorious.
And I walked in here, and Liz is like, "Oh, this is the first time I've seen you alone
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
in almost 3 months." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not alone.
I'm
ever."
aware. I'm aware. It's okay. This is a nice break for you tonight.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
thanks for having
Mom's
me. I
night out.
appreciate it.
yeah. This is our first in studio recording of a birth story since
At
before
I did come in for mine.
you. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we had coffee.
Yeah.
This is our first
Coffee
one
is
where I'm
life.
drinking.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Cheers to
Cheers.
margaritas. Woohoo!
Thank you, Jason.
And yes, thank you so much, Heather, for coming
Yes.
on and joining us for your 3 kiddos.
Yes, thank you for having me. It was
Your
fun.
beautiful blonde
Yeah.
babies.
Yeah. Oh, yes. There's no denying that. Poor Dan. He has brown hair and green eyes, and all 3 kids have blonde hair, blue eyes.
Oh,
Sucker.
the dominant trait.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
remember the first time I saw Sam after like, what was it? Like, 6 years of like not seeing each other.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him and I saw Dan with this blonde hair and blue eyed baby. I'm like, so like, where did he come from?
Are you sure
Dan's
he's
like,
his?
well, my wife has blonde hair and blue eyes. I'm like,
Ah.
that makes sense. He doesn't look anything like that.
He doesn't. Charlie is full on me.
Yes.
Evelyn is Dan, for sure. And Sophia's a mix. So, yeah. I'm like, yeah, sorry, babe. I won that gene trait right there.
Yeah.
But also, I carried those babies, so I
Yeah.
better have won. Although Wesley really looks like Sam. Sorry. He does.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Oh, but I see this. I have a toddler picture of myself, and I'm like, that's Wes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have this picture of like all my 5 siblings, or 5 of us, 5 kids, and then my parents, and we're all like young. And Wesley can point out each person now. So fucking cute.
I love
That's
that.
cute.
I know. Kids are so awesome as they get older. It's like, you are cool.
I know.
Mhm. I love watching you grow, but stop at the same time.
Yeah. Stop.
Like Evelyn walked in the kitchen tonight. Like I was like, come finish. Oh, it was the cauliflower. I'm like, come finish this cauliflower. And she walked in and I was just like a flash of like, why is she so tall? When did she get so tall? Like I was like expecting her to be just this wee little lady when she walked in for some reason. It just like hit me. I was like, why are you so tall? You're not supposed to be this big. She's like, oh, it's just, then Charlie likes to tell me, it's just part of life, Mom. Fine.
Yeah. Vivian's starting to be more like a little girl. She's saying like full sentences now. It's really
Oh,
cute.
gosh. It's so cute, but it's so sad at the same time.
She's my little baby.
I know.
My last baby.
I
You want
know.
them to talk and like tell you things, but then you're like, okay, stop.
Oh, Evelyn will talk your ear off. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, like if they watch her, they're like, yeah, we had a great time. Evelyn doesn't stop talking.
No, she doesn't.
I'm aware.
That's why I love her.
I know. She, like I said, she's got a lot to say. She's going to tell you about it.
I want her on the podcast.
Oh, God.
Oh my God. Yeah, let's do like a kid series.
Do it. She would love that. She'll probably be like on the microphone.
Oh my God. Yeah, we've been wanting to have Arthur on. Like, have just like a list of like really dumb questions.
Yeah. That'd be really funny.
You just need to give her one thing to talk about, and then she's going to take off. And then she's going to like start talking to you about everything that's been going on in the room.
She's going to see all those toys and just be like,
And then she'll be like, and my mom is 33 and my dad's 36. And then like, she'll be telling you everybody's age, and it's wild.
love her.
Yeah, she's cool. So yeah, please invite her on. She'll be like, yes.
We'll start having like play dates.
Yes.
Golden hour play dates.
Yeah.
Let's do it. But we're going to drink while we have those play dates, right?
Oh, yeah. Have you seen our bar?
Yes, I have, actually. I told them I was not leaving. It's fine. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so
This
much.
is so
I appreciate
fun.
it. It was fun.
And we'll be back next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And we'll link your stuff and our notes and
On your
Awesome.
Bookstagram.
all
Hopefully
that good
I
stuff.
don't sound so weird.
Never.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.